Hello, I'm Brett Knowles. This short YouTube is going to explain some of the interesting characteristics of demographics as they relate to the gamification of business. Things like the age and sex of the average players, and what does that mean? So let's get into the elephant on the table, about gender. So in a traditional game, about 60% of the players are male and 40% female. Now, to me, that's a higher number of females than first expected. But the more interesting thing is this new emerging market of mobile social gaming. We see the opposite. In fact, more females are playing than men. So if we take a look at these statistics in total, here's what we've learned. As posted by Dr. Natalie, 42% of all game players are women. Women over the age of 18 represent 37% of game-playing population, whereas boys under 17 are only 13%. So in that case, the majority of players are women. Now, women over 18 years of age are one of the industry's fastest-growing demographics, so we expect these numbers to change. The findings of her survey also suggest that for women, the social benefits from gaming were more effective. And in fact, women perceived that getting more recognition and perceived the community and gamification service to be more reciprocally beneficial to them. It also suggests that the social features of gamification may be more important motivational source for women in the workforce than for men. So perhaps this could explain why women also reported that they have larger social networks within the gamification service. So that's enough on gender. Let's talk about age. So the distribution of age is pretty much what we would expect. There's a peak in the younger years. But if we take a look in a little bit more detail, we find some interesting things. So for example, the majority of today's workforce has grown up with video games. So for example, someone who is 50 years old today, his or her birthday would be about 1963. So the first video game, Pong, was released in 1972. So that person would have been 9. And the first major console was released in 1977, so the person would have been 17. In other words, for the majority of their sort of recognition in adult years, gaming has been just present in their lives. In fact, Dr. Natalie also pointed out that the average player is 37 years old and has been playing for 12 years. So this is a mature market. And the average age of the most frequently game purchaser is 41 years old. In fact, in 2011, it's suggested that 29% of Americans over the age of 50 played video games, which was an increase from 9% in 1999. So the people at Technology Advice did a survey, and what they wanted to find out was whether the offering of gamification or some sort of engagement had a grounding in the office setting. So although the use of the term gamification may be commonplace in the business technology circles, consumers are still learning, and it's kind of an unwieldy term. So they asked the question, gauge your preference for such strategies. They asked the employees if they would be more likely to perform a task if it included game elements. And this is what they found. So obviously, a much more likely and likely significantly high in the early years, and a surprising decline around 55 to 64. Now, the analysis indicated that the difference in perspective might not only be about age. Many of the respondents in this age category here are in fact in senior management positions, and therefore they don't struggle with engagement because of the autonomy that's offered to them. So in summary, women make a large and significantly growing portion of gamers. Secondly, we know that the age is important in gaming, and that the mass majority of workers have been exposed to games for their entire lives and continue to play games even into their senior years. And finally, we understand that there is slippage in how effective gaming is, but that may be accounted for by people's movement into senior ranks of the organization more than age.